are. We're back again. It's Josh. It's Anthony. It's Reliving the Lights. Here to talk about some Friday Night Lights. We are on episode 9 of season 2. Man, this is where season 2 really gets No, I can't even say it really gets going, but it takes a turn.
I think here is where it really decides to go off the rails. I think we're
yeah.
How many episodes does this season last? 18, 16?
Yeah, it's much shorter. Yeah.
So I think the writer's strike is probably the best thing that ever happened to this show.
Honestly, yeah.
Because I think the first season was criminally underwatched, which we all know. The second season was marred by the writer's strike, which once again, I think if there wouldn't have been a writer's strike, I think we were maybe looking at cancellation after season 2.
Mm-hmm.
But we got a season cut short. We got the most ridiculous things to ever happen in the entire series of the show. You know, I think the writers were trying to trying to make it into the OC, which is a show that we both love.
Yeah,
we're on record saying so. But yeah, this episode is definitely the beginning of the end of the quality of this season, to my recollection.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to even say that because we've had murder and dumping dudes off of bridges.
This season
burning cars and whatnot.
This whole season is a real anomaly. I think you ask anybody who is a true Friday Night Lights fan, and they'll either say there wasn't a season 2 or season 2 is just an absolute mess. It's a cluster, if you will. There's so much going on. I think they threw so many things at the wall and nothing good stuck. I think they would have stuck to the formula of season 1, which they did end up going back to, I would argue, in the last 3 seasons. But season 2 is just really something special. I'm glad it exists.
Right.
But
I'm glad we get to talk about it.
Yeah.
I'll be curious once we hit the end of season 2, we move into season 3. Like, I want to think about what would it be like if season 2 just didn't exist and we just got like a little recap of, you know, the Taylors had a baby and coach ended up back in, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, because there are those very, very important things. Like, I mean, we had Tammy pregnant at the end of season 1.
Right. So
we have Gracie coming into our lives in season 2. We've got Coach moving back in season 2. We've got Matt and Julie breaking up in season 2. So there are things that are integral to the storyline, but it's so out there. Like it's honestly a wonder that the show exists, to be honest. I'm very happy it does, but
even like the Matt and Julie thing, don't we enter season 2 with them like basically broken up already anyway? Because
more or less, I mean,
the Swede is there, and
the Swede in episode 1 of season 2, the Swede has made his presence known.
Yeah.
He's there.
They're kind of on the rocks at this point. It's not going well. Yeah. So anyway,
I mean, they break up by season 2, episode 2 or 3. So
yeah. Well, we'll have to see if like a Friday Night Lights recut, re-release that just skips over season 2 could work.
I think there's too much context. I really don't think you can make it work. You could maybe do like a super cut. Like, here's the context of what happened.
Yeah.
Recap kind of thing.
Like a 10-minute thing at the beginning of.
Yeah. Turn season 3, episode 1 into an hour and a half episode. And the first half hour is
the
recap of the entirety of season 2. The important stuff. Lila becomes born again.
Right.
You know, I don't even think Landry killing a guy is relevant, so we just throw that out.
Well, and even Lila, like, does she continue with that Christian lifestyle after this season? I don't remember. I feel like no. Yeah. Landry and Tyra, do they continue to be a thing after the season?
I feel like they do. Like, I feel like there's at least tension there in the very least, but I don't know. It's been so long since I've watched seasons 3, 4, and 5, especially. I've watched season 2 and 1 several times, especially
Yeah.
season 1. But we've discussed this many, many times. I'm most excited to dig into seasons 3, 4, and 5 because there's so much in there that I don't. There's so much in this episode that while watching it, I was like, I don't remember any of this.
Yeah. There were things that surprised me too.
Everything that happens with Isabella, I was like, what?
Yeah.
So not to jump ahead of the episode, but
yeah. Well, we'll have to revisit this idea come season 3 or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, for now, I feel like we're already getting into it a little bit. So we better. What are you drinking here?
Yeah, still on the diet. Still learning that Diet Coke has 0 calories. So still drinking the Captain Morgan and Diet Coke. It's delicious. What do you got over there?
I have, I would say the official beer of Reliving the Lights, Friday Night Lights rewatch podcast is the Grain Belt Premium American Lager. It's the friendly beer.
It is the friendly beer. Yeah. I just want to get down to 195 is like the dream. Right now I'm on like a trajectory till April, and I still allow myself a cheat day. So like Saturday is my cheat day. So we are in cheat day territory as we record. Hey, I'm still drinking.
Go grab a Grain Belt, man.
I do have some in the fridge. I had my first had a real moment. Maybe that probably doesn't matter if we cut this from the podcast because I know my mom listens, but I also know that she lives in reality. That I had the first moment of had a beer with my little brother last night. Yeah. We watched the new Borat. It was very,
that's a good brotherly,
very cool brotherly moment.
Yeah, very nice. Your mom listens to the podcast, huh?
Yeah, she listens to the show. She's a big supporter of me as a human being, I guess.
Yeah, right.
That's actually how I found out because Miles and I, my little brother, Miles and I don't know if this is going to make the show, so I thought I should clarify these. My little brother. We were playing online the other day. We were playing PGA Tour 2K21 online the other day with each other, and I told him, I was like, "Oh yeah, I was up late the other night. We were recording our podcast last night because I think I was hungover when we were playing."
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Yeah, me and my friend from high school, we recorded this podcast." He's like, "Oh yeah, I know, Mom listens to it sometimes." He's like, "I've heard her listen to it when I'm at home." So I'm like, "Oh, all right." Well, pretty sure Mom listens to the podcast. So by this time, She knows that I'm first of all, Tinder Hall of Famer.
Well, thanks for listening, Michelle.
We appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm glad my mom doesn't listen. I'm assuming. Maybe she does. I don't know.
I think the way, considering the things that I've told my mom over the years, my antics, and considering the way that that you edit the episodes and the way that I've asked you maybe not to include a thing here or there.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm pretty comfortable with my mom listening to the show because I know that she knows more than most moms know about their son. I think we have a pretty pretty healthy sharing relationship. Yeah, on my end especially, I've definitely in my early 20s had some nights where I shared maybe a little bit too much.
Yeah, your mom is a good mom for sure.
There's no question about that. She has put up, and we talked tonight on the phone, and she told me, she was like, she was like, "Well, you and Miles have both been definitely unpredictable at times." And I was like, but to be fair, I was like, I was an angel until I was like a legal adult. Like, I was an absolute angel until I was like 18 and a half, like damn near 19. Pretty much, and for all she knew. I think I got a minor at like just short of 19. My one minor, the most, if you go a criminal background check on me, I'm sure it's deleted by now, but that's like the worst thing I've ever done criminally.
Right.
People know about. That's on record.
Right. You did break into jail at one point. So,
but yeah, like before that, like I was an angel and she knows it. So she was like, "Yeah, you were pretty good." So, but she also was like, she also said with Angie listening, she was like, She's like, you also had some nights where you would text me something and I would be like, well, I don't know how to respond to this. She was like, but then sometimes I would text you something where you wouldn't know how to respond. And I was like, I don't know if that's something that you should be proud of as a mother, but
Oh man.
So sons raised by single mothers. We have certainly unique relationships.
No doubt.
Anyway, so let's get into the episode.
Yeah. Were we just talking about what we were drinking?
Yeah,
yes.
We got into what we were drinking. I'm still on a diet. Yep. You're drinking Grainbelt Premium, which is the unofficial drink of the show. Grainbelt Premium, brewed in New Ulm, Minnesota, which is bordering both of our current home states.
Yes. We love it. We feel like it pairs perfectly with a good episode of Friday Night Lights.
Correct.
So
yes.
If you haven't tried it, go ahead, crack one open, sit down, crank up Hulu or Peacock or the DVD player, whatever you have, and press play and enjoy the combination of FNL and Grainbelt.
It is something of a regional specialty. So if you're in the Midwest, you probably have a better chance of getting it. We're talking Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, South Dakota, North Dakota, Nebraska. I know the last time I was in Missouri, I looked for it and couldn't find it. So apologies to our listeners in the West Indies, but you're probably not going to be able to get a hold of Grainbelt Premium. But we do love Grainbelt Premium. We love Shell's Brewing. And we're going to give a shout out to them. And they're not sponsored. They're not paying us.
No.
But we love them.
This is from the bottom of our hearts. It's not from the bottom of our wallets. It is true heartfelt.
Folks, it doesn't get any more genuine than this. But if there is anyone listening from Shell's Brewing, if you did want to pay us to be sponsors of the show, we will accept your money and we will tag you in the Twitter post for this particular episode. So I love Grainbelt.
I love it.
I have for many years. Josh is finally getting on the train.
Yep.
We've talked about it on this show for a long time. As you know, we don't have any sponsors aside from the Alamo Freeze, who does occasionally jump in on our episodes for advertising for things like Medicare for All. Those normal things that the Alamo Freeze would advertise for. But
yeah, absolutely.
But Shell's Brewing, we have your back. I'm 2 hours away. I'll take free clothing. I mean, honestly, listen, I'm begging you. All right,
please,
because we're doing this for free. You know,
right?
You don't even have to. We're gonna plug you for every episode from now on. As far as I'm concerned, if you want to give us money, I'm not gonna complain. But you're gonna get shouted out every episode from now on. So,
just so you know, here's to Shell's Brewing, Grainbelt, Premium American Lager, the friendly beer, unofficial beer, as of now, of the Reliving the Lights podcast.
It is the friendly beer. You know, I don't know if you know this, but actually across town there is New Ulm Brewing. They have Howenstein. It's the unfriendly beer. You start drinking it, you turn into a jerk. You don't want to drink Howenstein. You want to drink Grainbelt Premium or any of the other great selections from Shell. It's the friendly beer, especially Grainbelt is the friendly beer. But if you're in the southwestern Minnesota area and you want to turn unfriendly, you're going to want to drink Howenstein. But Grainbelt is the friendly beer. Howenstein, the unfriendly beer. You don't want to turn unfriendly. With that, Josh, let's get into the episode.
Let's get into it. We are on season 2, episode 9. This episode is entitled The Confession. We got Movie Dude 1 this week?
Let me check. Josh, we do have Movie Dude 1 this week.
Yes.
For The Confession. Did we talk about when it aired?
Yeah, this episode aired the 7th of December of 2007.
That means That aired exactly 3 weeks before my birthday, so we might get an Anthony Hookman birthday episode.
Ooh, nice.
Coming up.
I'm excited for that. Hopefully they didn't like take a break.
They might have, because that is right near the Christmas season. But
yeah.
So here's the Movie Dude 1 synopsis. I'm really hoping for you, Movie Dude 1. I got my eyes closed right now.
I'm looking at it. It looks short, which is a good sign, brevity. Okay, come on. Let's go.
Again. Landry gives into his better judgment and confesses about what he did while trying to save Tyra. Okay. Santiago feels the pressure about the upcoming football game, while pressure mounts between Julie and her mother surrounding the christening of the new baby in the family.
Hold on. I don't want to jinx it, but things are going really well at this point.
You're right.
Come on.
There's one sentence left.
Oh my gosh.
Tim feels the pressure of his new roommate, while Jason does his best in getting back into the dating world. Josh?
I think, yeah.
This is at least 9. Do you want to go 10?
I think I want to go 10, but I don't think it's a 10.
It's clear. It's concise. Is it the best that he can do? Like, it looks really good. I want to go a high 9. If you're ready to give a 10, I am. It's not bad. Do you want me to do it again? You want to do it again?
Let's hear it again. Yep.
Landry gives into his better judgment and confesses about what he did while trying to save Tyra. Santiago feels the pressure about the upcoming football game, while pressure mounts between Julie and her mother surrounding the christening of the new baby in the family. Tim feels the pressure of his new roommate, while Jason does his best in getting back into the dating world. I mean, this is for sure the best that he's ever done. I think we got to give him a 10. This is
10.
This is a Movie Dude. This is a Movie Dude 1 masterpiece. I really think it is.
I'm really glad we did the reread, because then I was picking up on the subtleties of what he was doing. I wasn't picking up on the pressure thing before, and I was gonna say, like, I can't give him a 10 because I feel like he's smashing things, unrelated things, into one sentence, but it's the pressure that ties them together.
I think we got to give him a 10. We had a Kobe Bryant gif him.
I didn't know if we were going to get here. I honestly didn't.
I still want him to do better, but I think that this is it's an absolute listen. Black Elk Peak is the highest peak between I think like the Rocky Mountains and the Swiss Alps or something like that.
Right, yep.
This is Movie Dude 1's Black Elk Peak.
Yes.
Is it the highest in the world? It's not Everest?
No.
But it's the highest between the Rocky Mountains and the
it's still impressively high.
Yeah. It's something to write home about for sure.
Man. Oh, it's kind of it's kind of ridiculous, the almost like giddiness I feel in my heart. Genuine giddiness I feel in my heart right now.
I was not expecting a solid turnout from Movie Dude 1, and I am very, very impressed at what he's done.
And it's surprising because I feel like he wasn't trending in a great direction prior to this.
I mean, we talked about it last episode. His mess of a sentence in that
was bad. It was bad.
So we're really proud of him. And I think at this point, we can at least say, Movie Dude 1, come on the show.
Who are you?
We need you. We need you on the show.
Yeah. All right. We open this episode and Landry is right where we left off on the previous episode. Landry is in the process of confessing. The cop is really trying to help him out, really trying to get him to say, it was self-defense, or that the guy was attacking Tyra, that they feared for their life. But Landry is firmly committed to the truth here.
Yeah. Well, and he's not even committed to the truth. He's committed to a self-guilt, I think, complex.
Yeah.
Because the cop is like, So this person had attacked Tyra before, right? And he was probably gonna like at least rape her and probably kill her. And Landry is like, not important. I killed him. I took a pipe. I smashed his head with it.
Yeah.
I murdered him. And the cop is like, okay, sure, but like he's doing everything in his power to be like, not even like in his power. Like he's like, I've listened to your story and you are not guilty.
Right.
And we as the audience know that he is, for all intents and purposes, I wouldn't call him guilty. I'm no judge. I don't have a law degree. But
Landry's like really hung up on the fact that the guy was walking away when he clocked him. Right? Like that's what he is hung up on. That
I don't even think he's hung up on that. I think he's just hung up on the fact that he killed somebody. I don't even think he's concerned with the fact that the guy was walking away.
Yeah.
I think he is like, I killed somebody. Forget context.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Which is dumb as hell, but neither here nor there.
Yep. Yep.
So the cop who is interviewing him says, well, I'm going to step away for a second. You stay right here. He walks to the hallway. He runs into Pa Clark. Doesn't run into him. Pa Clark is waiting out there for him. Cop says to Pa Clark, your son isn't helping himself out in there.
Right.
He's not doing himself any favors. Landry sees, he can't hear, but he sees this interaction and walks out and he's just like, I just want to confess.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Basically it's like handcuff me, put me in jail. Pa Clark is like, Landry, for crying out loud. Like,
yep.
How can you not realize that what you did was in not necessarily self-defense, but in defense of another human being? Like, you definitely stopped her from being raped. You probably stopped her from being murdered.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing what this guy was capable of.
Right.
Pa Clark drags him out of the police station.
Yeah, literally. Like Landry is refusing to leave, and Pa Clark's, no, we're going home. Landry's pretty unhinged at this point, pretty unreasonable, pretty unreachable. Yeah.
And it's interesting, like, version of, I put myself in Landry's shoes and I'm like, I would for sure be able to, I feel like I would be able to argue that what I did was in self-defense, but I don't know. I think it's a way of trying to prove that Landry has such a big heart. Even though we know what we know, and maybe his intentions are so pure, but
right. Yeah, I take it a little bit as his upbringing, his Christian upbringing, and not like a full robust view of grace, and no, I did something wrong and I deserve to be punished, and so I need to be punished to make it right, which is incorrect.
Right. But there's nothing like a healthy dollop of Protestant guilt. I'll tell you that right now. I've experienced it. You've probably experienced it. I
for sure.
Yeah. So I definitely relate to what Landry is going through.
Yep. Matt and Carlota are also sinning. They're in bed, smooching, and
they're snogging.
Grandma bursts in to Matt's room.
Knocking.
Nope. And she is furious because she thinks that Matthew ate her snack wells.
Yeah. Carlota brilliantly, but maybe not so brilliantly, goes under the covers, still is like bending her knee to a point that there is a clear shape under the covers, but Grandma is too distracted by her missing snack wells to notice.
Yeah.
Grandma, as soon as Matt says, no, I didn't eat your snack wells, Grandma tells Matt, well, ask Carlota if she did it. Matt goes, right now? And Grandma goes, no, you dingus. Ask her when she's awake. So Matt, He breathes a breath, a
sigh of relief.
Sigh of relief, yeah. And Grandma leaves, and they have a little Matt, puts on almost like a Smash-esque move where he says, "Did you eat my grandma's snack whales?" They have a little laugh about it. They're kissing a little bit.
Yeah,
I gotta hand it to Saracen.
He really does. Saracen, you can really see him at times trying to put on the Smash persona. Specifically, like I'm sure he's thinking, what would Smash do in this situation? Yep. What would Smash say? And that's what he tries to do.
Bringing that Smash confidence, no question about it.
Yep. The Taylor family's getting ready for baby Gracie's christening. And
Shelly is still there?
Shelly is still there.
Did she come down for the christening? Because she's been down there for at least 2 weeks, not only in like what we know, because it's not just a week per episode, but there have been 2 games played while Shelly has been there. So she has been there for at least 2 weeks. I don't know that we got the information of where Shelly lives, what Shelly's occupation is, how she is affording to just stay with her sister.
Yeah. I think it speaks to what they get into it about a lot between Tammy and Shelly is kind of her like fast and loose lifestyle and not being committed to anything or anyone.
And the last question, who calls a baptism a christening? Maybe you can clarify this.
I cannot. I also wondered about this because I assumed when they kept talking about a christening, I was like, oh, well, this must be some, denomination that just like dedicates babies and doesn't baptize them. But nope, they were sprinkling water with a weird little silver clamshell.
Right. Because the reason I got confused is because I was writing notes. I was like pausing every few seconds just to get everything down, and I heard them talking about Julie's godmother dress, and so I was like, oh, there's a baptism. And it wasn't until later that I heard the term christening. And I have never, outside of this television program, heard the term a christening for a baptism.
Yeah, that's like they're gonna break a bottle of champagne over her head.
Exactly, over her soft spots. Like it's, maybe it's a regional thing. I don't know.
I'm looking it up. Well, and my other question that I had was, I know of no denominations that are willing to baptize or christen non-human life forms. I mean, Gracie is clearly an alien, and they're just
no.
Yeah, I got you, Gracie.
You went in a different direction than I was expecting that to go, but
I'm on babiesandbrides.com.
Oh goodness.
According to this, it says that christenings are common in the Catholic and Anglican Church. I can't imagine that they are attending an Anglican church in West Texas.
That's very interesting because I should have asked Angie if she's ever heard of a christening, because I feel like I've been to Catholic baptisms and I've never heard the term christening. So we're gonna have to dive deeper into this. We're gonna have to dive deeper.
If you're listening and you know what's going on with christenings, feel free to reach out on Twitter.
Please do.
Educate us. But they're getting ready for the christening. Tammy is very stressed about the whole situation. She's got a lot going on, a lot she's trying to juggle. Do you have anything else on the christening? I don't have much notes there. Well, not on the christening,
I don't either. I just have Shelly's still there. That was the thing I was most concerned about. And I just wrote baby Gracie's baptism is coming up, and I didn't even catch the term christening at that point until I got it later. But so, Coach meets with Tim in his office. Did you write down the quote?
Yeah,
I knew it. I knew you would because I didn't.
Because you didn't.
So yeah, I'll let you take it from here.
I didn't take down the first part, but Coach's yeah, I mean, he's talking about his duties as an athletic director, and I've been looking for someone who owes me a favor. Someone who has been disrespectful and shown a great deal of selfishness. Can you think of anyone off the top of your head? And Riggins responds, top of my head, first guy comes to mind is probably Williams.
Great quote.
Yeah. Yep. Coach responds, you know, I got a lot on my plate right now, Riggins, and I thank you very much for volunteering. So I don't remember what exactly prompted this interaction or anything, but I think just Riggins trying to get back on the team.
I think that's fully it. I think it's Riggins just trying to get back on the team because it's a hard cut just to Tim and Coach's office. So
Yep. So
this is kind of Coach's payback for Tim being in Mexico.
Yep.
Inexplicably for at least 1 week of Coach's tenure and 1 week of Coach McGregor's tenure.
Right.
So,
yep. He's gonna put Tim to work in the athletic department.
So meanwhile, I gotta talk about this. Jason and Herc are hanging out. Jason Street and Herc.
Yeah, Herc is back.
Herc is on his computer. He says, I gotta show Jason something. Street says, if this is Screech's porn video again, I don't want to watch it. This implies to me that Herc is really into Screech's porn video.
Right. He's shown Jason before and maybe multiple times.
Definitely more than once. This is definitely a thing where like Street was like, fool me once. You know?
Right. Yeah, I mean, Herc's a weird dude for
Herc's
sure.
a weird dude, yeah. He seems like the kind of guy who would be like, let me show you something, and then screech his porn video like 5 times in a row.
It's Herc's version of the Rick roll.
Exactly, yeah. It's the Herc's version of Goatsy in 2007. But it turns out to not be Screech's porn video. It turns out to not be a Rickroll, and it turns out to not be Goatsy. It is indeed wheellovers.com.
Wheellovers.com, ladies and gentlemen.
A dating site for paraplegics and the women who love them.
Is that the tagline that it said?
No,
okay.
But that's just the way that I took it. Because right away, and once again, I was taking notes while I was watching this, and I thought, oh, it's a site for wheelchair-bound people to find love. But I became very aware soon thereafter that it's one half of the people that are on there are wheelchair-bound, and the other half are very much not, which, we all have our fetishes. Turns out that the woman that Jason is interested in, Isabella, has more than one fetish.
Yeah, we'll get into that for sure.
I do want to mention that Isabella has a link on her profile to her MySpace, which I will say is the outdated pop culture reference of the week.
Definitely. 2007, that's prime MySpace. The prime MySpace.
I mean, by that point, I was off of MySpace and on Facebook. That to me is like, it was outdated at the time.
Yeah, I was managing both sites at that time because MySpace had become more of a music destination, and I was very much interested in that whole scene at that time. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, I did not look at her profile that closely, so I'm thinking maybe you paused the.
I did not. Well, what I wrote down was this: Herc is into Screech's porn video. He wants Jason to join wheellovers.com. Jason, by the way, right away is not interested. He's like, no, I'm not getting involved with that. And then he sees what I had originally written down as the wheelchair-bound hotties, but turns out they are not wheelchair-bound, just hotties. Hotties with a fetish, perhaps, but not wheelchair-bound. And I don't know if it goes both ways. If there's men who are into women in wheelchairs on wheellovers.com.
Yeah, that's unclear. Yeah, unclear.
But for sure, obviously, for Jason Street, if you're Herc, you're creating a profile as a man in a wheelchair.
Right.
And the next thing I have is just one of them has a link to their MySpace, and that's my outdated pop culture.
Yeah.
So, but we do get a picture of Isabella standing.
Yes.
So not wheelchair bound.
Not wheelchair bound. And in the process, of them checking out this provocative picture of Isabella, Jason's mom awkwardly comes into the room.
Yeah.
With carrots and cookies.
Yeah. And Herc was just saying how much he loves carrot sticks, as it turns out.
He was.
That's what he tells.
That's what he says. And that prompts Herc to urge Jason, like, listen, man, you got to get out of here.
Exactly. Yeah. He's saying, hey, you're still living with your folks. Granted, Jason's not even a year out of high school.
Yes. He
like 5 months out of high school, 6 months out of high school at best.
And has been paralyzed for just over a year. Right. So still learning how to live. So it's not too soon.
But something to consider.
He's not rushing it for sure. But anyway, yes.
Listen, I wasn't in a wheelchair and I was still living with my folks at that time. So no shame to Jason Street from Anthony Hookman.
No. The next scene makes me very uncomfortable. Buddy is showing off Santiago at the car dealership as if he is some sort of prized livestock.
Yeah, like a product. It's very strange. And I don't even know who he's talking to. Like
a random customer.
A person that we've never met before and to my knowledge don't again.
No. It's gross. It's very sleazy.
Obviously this guy is like a community member of Dylan who's concerned about football. He's there like getting a car wash or something.
Yeah. Or
getting his car detailed. It's not very clear. But it's mostly Buddy basically being like a not even like a college rep trying to show off like here's my new guy who can play good college football. Right. like a lower level of that. Like here's a guy that he's like, and this comes up later, but he's basically trying to be like a white savior.
Yeah.
Anthony gets political.
No, absolutely. I have extreme racial undertones, not even really undertones. Like, very uncomfortable. Reminded me of how we learned that Donald Sterling talked about his players for the Clippers.
Yes.
Showing them off in the locker room and stuff like that.
Yeah. The whole scene and exchange is very troubling. And it's more or less irrelevant to the episode. Like, I don't have any notes on it aside from like literally all I wrote down was Buddy talking up Santiago at the dealership. Like, we could have done without this scene. And not only because it's irrelevant, but like there's another scene later on that we'll talk about that Buddy more or less plays up his white savior role to Santiago.
Yeah.
So
I see. I don't even know. Well, the relevant thing I feel like in this scene that we didn't need the white savior crap for was just that Buddy says that Santiago might get some good playing time in on Friday. Like that's the point. Like that's the thing that comes back later.
This kid, first of all, like, so he's a juvenile delinquent. He's like 16 or 17 years old. He's never played football before. His parents were deported. He's like a DACA person, apparently.
That must be.
He only has interest from Buddy because he might be good at football. He only has interest from Coach because he might be good at football. I mean, Buddy is for sure playing a white savior role here. Coach is arguably playing a white savior role here.
It's Buddy very much
self-interest. Him in to his like crappy post-divorce apartment as like a surrogate child, not only because he might be good at football, but also to impress his own daughter.
Right.
Like the entire thing is very, very scummy.
I feel like in this episode at times we're supposed to feel sympathy for Buddy.
None. I have none.
It does not work. So it makes me wonder, like, what are they trying to do with Buddy in this episode? And were the writers self-aware of the situation, or is this like litigating 2007 from the perspective of 2020, or what?
Right. That's what I was gonna say is like I said that MySpace was the outdated pop culture reference of the week, but I think that White Savior Buddy might be the pop culture reference of the week. I don't know. It's the whole thing is very troubling. It's not a great scene, and there's more to come. More to come.
Yeah, as someone in foster care and as an adoptive parent, there are a lot of things in this episode that make me cringe very hard. All right, so we move on from that weird, cringy, buddy, sleazeball scene to Pa Clark. He's trying to give Tyra a heads up, like, listen, stuff's about to hit the fan. You're going to need a lawyer. Yeah.
Yeah, he suggests a lawyer. He says, listen, Landry made a confession. He's not ready to say that he was acting in self-defense. Here's a good lawyer, which is a weird direction for Pa Clark to go because he seems to know that Landry is in the direction of being like, hey, I'm guilty, lock me up. He seems more concerned with defending Tyra than he does his own son, which like 2 episodes ago we saw him more concerned.
Yeah, get away from my son.
Yeah, exactly. So not necessarily a consistent character achievement with this scene, but I understand its necessity.
Yep.
We have a scene with Tim and Guy, his roommate. Guy confronts Tim pretty passive aggressively, like outside of practice. Like Tim's in full pads, he's ready to go to practice. And Guy, I didn't write down exactly what he said, but it was very like, hey, you discovered my meth lab, you better watch your back. Like it was very like, hey roommate, what's up? Just hanging out here at your practice,
right.
Just seeing the people that you interact with and what you're saying. I'm here in support, wink, wink. But also, if you say anything, I will know it. So,
right.
Just think about it.
Yeah, it's
very passive aggressive. It's very strange. This guy is unhinged. And it gets weirder. It only gets weirder from here. So I don't want to go further because I'm going to go further later. So
well, and he has the line in this. He has the line where he's telling Tim that returning to the herd is the biggest mistake of his life.
Yeah. So, he's like, I played football once and it wasn't worth a shit. So maybe you should consider that. Maybe consider being a piece of garbage like me and having ferrets and hang out in your underwear and being a drug dealer. Maybe that would be fulfilling to you, Tim Riggins. Maybe that's where you're also, in a sense, I think he's saying this is where you're headed, but also like he's almost saying like it would be more fulfilling to go down my path, which obviously would not. I think even obvious to Tim Riggins, it would not be fulfilling to go down that road.
Yeah. Well, the returning to the herd comment I wrote in my notes, as we've talked about with other people before, this guy would definitely be into QAnon in 2020.
Oh, for sure. This guy is 110,000% Trump supporter. Anthony gets political.
Here we go again.
This guy's definitely into Trump. He's definitely into QAnon. He's definitely like and the fascinating thing, I have one of these people that I know for sure that are like, they're an actual felon because they dealt drugs at one point and they also voted for Trump. And it's like, pick a lane, man. What are you pro weed or are you pro Trump? Because you genuinely cannot be both. So, granted, Guy here takes it an extra step, and I'm not a meth guy.
Neither am I.
Yeah. Don't condone it. Never done it. Would not be interested in doing it.
Pass.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's for me. Never been involved with people who do do meth or deal meth, but it seems to me like a guy who would be into meth would be like, hey, let's legalize everything that we can just to take the heat off of me. So,
Right.
in that sense, probably is a Trump supporter, but also a guy who doesn't understand
Yes.
anything. So we'll put him in that category. Tyra has a little confrontation with Landry. Landry's mowing the yard.
Yeah, I made a note of that too. Okay.
And she basically says, like, hey, listen, Pa Clark told me that you confessed, that you went in. Don't.
Yeah, you're an idiot. Yeah, Landry says he just can't. He can't keep lying. He can't keep doing it. So, yeah, he did what he had to do. Over at practice, Santiago's getting his butt kicked.
Yeah, he's starting to struggle. That natural talent isn't really shining through in the same way that it was previously.
Yeah, coach goes off on him and even says, like, you were awesome last week. What's different? Why are you terrible now?
And they kind of have a moment where coach plays his part, but Santiago doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, coach goes in and says, you know, you're a worthless piece of crap. You know, like he does what coaches do. Where they say, like, you know, he kind of plays the Arlie Ermy Full Metal Jacket move where he's like, you dumb son of a bitch. Yo, I took you in last week and you played like hell. What the hell happened to you, son?
Right.
And Santiago doesn't talk back. He doesn't have an injury. He's clearly, you know, having a moment of not really being sure of what he's got himself into.
Yeah. He absorbs it almost, like you can feel him taking it in a little bit, not in a good way, not absorbing it.
And Buddy tells coach, oh, Santiago's just having a bad day.
Yeah.
Coach isn't sold. He's not ready to get Santiago involved at all. He's kind of thinking he might be a bust.
Yeah, a bust in a head case. He tells Buddy he thinks it's in his head. So next we see the Clarks at the lawyer's office, and they're trying to work on Landry's defense, and he's not cooperating again.
Yeah, the defense attorney is kind of trying to tell him, like, hey, listen, like, you were afraid for not only your life, but especially Tyra's life. And Landry is like, and this is maybe one of the biggest problems of the season is, like, I don't care if you are the guiltiest person on earth or the most innocent person on earth. Actually, I don't care if you're the most innocent person on earth. If you are trying to act as guilty as Landry Clark, like, it's unrealistic.
Yeah. What?
Because Landry is one of the most innocent people. Yeah. Like, he's extremely innocent, and he is trying so hard to be guilty.
I think I just think it comes down to, like, he was raised in a certain way and he's never been in trouble a day in his life before. And he went basically from 0 to 100 miles an hour when it comes to,
he wants to be guilty so bad.
He's never screwed up before and he doesn't know how to deal with it, especially as something of this magnitude. So this is how he's reacting.
He's got his dad. He's got Tyra. He's got basically a lawyer, cop. Yeah, everybody's trying to tell him, like, dude, what you did is, it's not fine, but, like, it's okay.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
No, but he's refusing it. So we're still at that place with Landry.
Then Lila pulls up on Jason. Jason's practicing quad rugby in his driveway, his parents' driveway.
Yeah, he's like a little kid, like narrating his own play-by-play.
Yeah.
In his driveway.
Frankly, it's pathetic.
It's it's pretty sad. Yeah, not a great look for Jason. But Lila drives up, and they start talking a little bit, but then Jason gets a call.
Doesn't take long.
No.
For Jason's phone to ring.
And I just want to say it's on his cell phone. That is definitely another different cell phone. I don't know what's going on with this one. It's not a flip phone, but it doesn't look like a brick phone. I don't know.
When you're paraplegic, you get more of those upgrades. It's less than twice a year, or once every 2 years. It's once every month you actually get an upgrade.
Is that how it works? Yeah. Okay, that explains it. Yeah.
My cousin's friend was a paraplegic, and he used to get the monthly upgrades. So.
Well, yeah. I mean, sign me up.
I made that up.
It's a call from his what was the website?
Wheel Lovers.
Wheel Lovers. Yeah, it's a call from his Wheel Lovers date.
Isabella.
Yeah. I don't know what I was trying to say in my notes. I said who is a dating side babe, apparently.
Wow.
Don't know.
Movie Dude 1 is here on our show. Movie Dude 1, tell me more about.
But so he's talking to Isabella while Lila is there, and so they talk a little bit about Jason's new foray into online dating.
Yeah, Lila's like, "Oh, who's Isabella?" And Jason, for his credit, is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Says, "Hey, I joined a dating site. Herc was involved."
We don't really know why Lila was coming over.
No, we don't. She just like it. It's almost like she was just driving by.
Yeah, saw Jason. Pretending in his driveway.
Just driving by.
Right. Lila has
hard air quotes.
Yeah. Lila has been known to have some stalkerish moments when it comes to Jason. So who knows? We get a scene at school where Julie goes to Coach's office to talk to him about the christening situation.
You're right. I jumped in.
Yeah. And let's see. She's telling Coach that, it seems the whole christening thing seems to mean so much to Tammy, but Julie is just so afraid that she's going to disappoint her. At this point in my notes, I wrote, is Julie playing Coach right here? And I think that's Tammy's suspicion too later on.
Right. Yeah, we've seen up to this point that, especially when Coach was in Austin and Tammy and Julie were back home, that Julie was clearly trying to get Coach on her side.
Yeah.
It's hard to say in this particular situation, but Julie definitely comes into Coach's office concerned about disappointing Julie. So I think the way it started was Coach was away. Julie, I don't think she started new expectations, but she saw all of what happened with the Swede. Saw her daughter. Well, I mean, she was concerned before that about Matt. About the three-ways and the
that's right. Yeah.
Rally girls and etc. So I think Tammy had all this concern and Coach was away for a lot of it. And I think that Julie maybe saw her situation be more scrutinized by Mrs. Coach.
Yeah.
And I think it's continuing. And so Julie comes into Coach's office. She says, I'm concerned because Mrs. Coach has been so over the top in her judgment of me as not only the coach's wife, but also as the mother of the coach's daughter, I suppose. And she's been scrutinizing about Julie's role as the godmother of Gracie.
Yeah, right. It's a lot of pressure. Doesn't want to let her down. Coach offers to talk to Tammy here and seems pretty happy that he gets to play the good guy in this situation.
Especially after last week with Glenn. So I think Coach is happy to take the position.
Yeah. So they have that interaction at Coach's office. Then we see Tim doing some grunt work at the gymnastics meet. He's kind of the gopher. He's keeping score. He's giving people towels, all that kind of stuff.
It reminded me of my time as a junior high wrestler when Platt would have the like triangles, like the varsity triangles, and like my role as a junior high wrestler would be to be like the towel boy, to like put your hand on the shoulders the last 2 minutes, the 2-minute warning on the
ref,
the ref hand, and then hit him on the shoulder when the time is up.
Did you have like the foam bopper thing?
Oh yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Nice.
Towel boy, blood boy. Like there was clean up the blood kid was one of the roles.
Wow.
So yeah, this is back in 2000, 2001, the Bush era.
Right.
If you will.
Yeah.
That's basically what Tim Riggins is doing is but I mean to a lower role is he's like judging. He was like, oh, the last girl getting 8.9.
I don't think he was actually judging, but he's like flipping the scorecards and stuff like that.
And acting impressed.
Yeah. So the quote, I did take down the quote. Coach walks in, checking on Tim. You doing all right, son? Not really, coach. She just hit an 8-6. Stacy should be hitting those double backs. She's been her own worst enemy all day. It's pretty bad. So he is taking an interest in it. I'm not sure sincerely or sarcastically, but he's paying attention.
It feels like he's relatively involved, but also it feels sarcastic. So it's
it's a little both. All right. So Tim's roommate is at the gymnastics meet.
Guy
is making a scene there. He's very gross. He's a very gross human being.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about this guy because he's unhinged.
Yeah.
I mean, from the get-go, the most that we've seen him in, we talked about this last episode, we're talking bro tank, underwears, unironic sideburns. We talked about this. Get 2 out of 3, 1 out of 3.
Pick one, man. Yeah,
pick one. Pick one at most. And now you're going out of your way to applaud a high school gymnastic competition. It's very. He shows up in like a camo bro tank.
The
whole thing's troubling. It's very
nasty.
Strange.
And not only is he, ogling. Not only is he ogling these high school gymnasts, he is trying to get Tim to ditch out on his job and go to the landing strip.
He's trying to get him to go to a strip club. And Coach like sees this and he's like, because Coach at this point knows, right, that they're living together, and he's like, good. You want to go put a silencer on your roommate?
Right. Yeah, Coach is very concerned not only about what his roommate is doing at the gymnastics meet, but also just Tim's situation in general there. So, yep, Coach is pretty concerned. We see Buddy helping Santiago study his playbook while Buddy cooks dinner.
Yeah, Buddy's in his sad apartment, post-divorce sad apartment. No art on the walls. I don't know what Texas rent looks like in 2007, but it's not. There's not a lot of square footage going on in this place. So, I mean, for a guy who owns a car dealership, you think he could.
Yeah, what is the deal with that?
Do better. I mean,
we do know that he considered it a temporary space,
but still, I mean, yeah, I think listen, I'm not wealthy by any consideration, and I live in probably the fanciest apartment complex in Brookings, South Dakota. I'll say that. Mm-hmm. I don't know what. I mean, I don't own a car dealership. If I owned a car dealership, if I'm Buddy Garrity, I'm buying a house probably, right? Like,
right. Yeah.
So, that's one thing to consider. But no, he's living in this apartment building. He is cooking food. He's cooking steak.
Steak and let me see. I wrote it down. Ramenzini.
Yeah,
is what he called it.
Like a weird combination of like a rich man and a poor man's meal. Like, which once again, Buddy owns a dealership. He is not hurting for money. I don't care if he's paying child support to Pammy. I don't care if he's still paying Pam's half a mortgage. I think Buddy's still coming out.
Yeah, he should
more well than the apartment that he's living in. But neither here nor there. Santiago's studying plays.
Yeah.
Buddy's cooking dinner. Santiago asks him, how much of this playbook do I have to memorize before game day? Buddy says, all of it.
Yeah, very matter-of-factly. Like, yeah, all of it. Yep. You should know it all. Yeah, it's not going well for Santiago. He's not really absorbing the info.
Right. And Santiago was in a situation where, like, I had a real, like, I relate to Santiago in the situation where he's in a situation where he feels like I need to learn play after play after play. I mean, page and page and pages. And he's like, I'm not absorbing this. And you can tell he's like, and Buddy doesn't seem to have any concern about it.
Yeah. I honestly feel like Santiago's like a defensive end, which for the most part, defensive ends are don't let anyone get outside you, and beyond that, go after the guy with the ball. So
right.
I feel like Santiago's probably going to be okay if he doesn't have everything memorized. But yeah, it's not going well. He's getting frustrated. He's getting overwhelmed, I think, is the main point.
Yeah. He's finding himself in a situation where he, once again, Anthony gets political. What we know about Santiago is his parents are both deported.
Yep.
He has spent some time in juvie.
Yep.
He has a white savior in Buddy Garrity.
Yep.
And he's just looking for a, honestly, relatively normal experience. He's looking for a simple experience where he doesn't have to think too much, which is, this is not a demonization of Santiago at all. This is what I think everyone in America wants, is just, not to have to. Josh, you're giving me a look like I'm going to say something wrong really soon.
No, not at all.
No, I think Santiago is in a situation where he's like, I just want to listen. I got a free ride from a guy who owns a dealership.
Mm-hmm.
He wants me to play football. What I know about football is tackle the guy with the ball. Mm-hmm. I mean, as a person who has had some pretty basic jobs, I make pretty decent money now.
Mm-hmm.
My job is to just send emails to people all day and get paid for it. And that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, right.
Get paid X amount of money to just send emails all day. And that's, I think, what Santiago is looking for, is just like, I want to set a job where I'm not in jail, where I'm not in juvie, where I have someone to look out for me, and where I'm doing whatever. But Santiago, he's had a hard time in practice. He's had a hard time learning the plays.
Mm-hmm.
That's where he's at. He doesn't want to try to absorb this information because I say this as a person who has a hard time absorbing stuff
mm-hmm. that
I don't inherently understand. He doesn't want to flip through the freaking playbook and try to absorb all, which, I mean, the implication is that he's like, I don't get this.
Yeah. He feels like he has to do this in order to, have a stable life. Like, he's got to jump through these hoops for Buddy in order to have a place to stay and have food and have someone looking out for him. But he's not sure at this point. Like, I don't know if A, I can handle this. B, I want to handle this. C, if this is even worth it to begin with.
Right.
So, yeah, he's getting a little overwhelmed by the situation. Hasn't completely come to a head yet, but we will.
It absolutely will, yeah.
Yeah. Coach and Tammy are in bed. They're just having their some pillow talk, and Coach lets Tammy know Julie came to see him at his office today and kind of tries to explain like what Julie was talking about and Julie's side of it. And I feel like a little bit like innocently and earnestly, like just trying to communicate between, kind of being the go-between between the two of them, but it doesn't come off very well.
Yeah, I really feel like Coach's concerns are relatable and genuine.
Yeah. He's not that far off, but it's also he's taking the side opposite of his wife.
Right.
Which doesn't necessarily go over well. I don't even think he knows what he's getting himself into necessarily, but
yeah, so Coach comes to Tammy and talks about Julie's concerns. This kind of puts Coach between a rock and a hard place because Tammy at this point does not know about Julie's concerns.
Mm-hmm.
Is kind of upset that Julie came to Coach instead of her.
Right. Yeah, she's very skeptical of the situation. She doesn't really she's not too excited about hearing this from her husband, I guess.
Yeah,
no. So it doesn't go over well. Pa Clark is trying to talk to Landry, and once again, Landry's being a real ding-dong about the whole situation.
Yeah, I still don't understand Landry's position on this.
Yeah.
Landry is basically the tutor.
Yeah. And it dawns on Smash that Carlota is here for Matt. He is so happy.
Yeah, he goes into full on like pride mode.
That's my boy. That's
my
son, Matt.
Psyched. Yeah, he is psyched for Matt.
Yeah.
Smash tells Matt that the situation is too good to last.
Yeah.
And that they need to set some ground rules, some boundaries.
Yeah. Yeah. He's very congratulatory, but listen.
Yeah, he's psyched. He's like, Maddie, my boy. Like, as soon as he realizes, he's like, oh, and he's like, oh, she's living with you?
Wait a minute.
Let me tell you, women love ground rules.
Which is worse?
No comment.
Which is worse, the open relationship strategy or the setting ground rule strategy?
Open relationship for sure. No question.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Matt being led astray,
but he's confident. He's in full Smash mode though. He is very confident in his situation.
And honestly, Smash has taken him to places where he would never have gotten on his own.
Would you say unimaginable heights?
Unimaginable new heights for Matty Saracen, thanks to Smash Williams. Yes, I would say that.
I mean, in the very least, as we knew him at the beginning of this program.
Yeah, for sure.
To ditch Lauren for Carlota,
that's unimaginable.
Yeah. That is an unimaginable new height for me and for any other probably person.
Yeah, impressive
on God's great earth.
So Landry and Tyra, we see them next. Landry says he feels like he's stuck deciding between jail and hell, basically. Yeah. And says, will you please just tell me the truth? Were you in fear for your life? And Tyra says, yes. If you hadn't been there, who knows what would have happened. You saved me.
I like to, I mean, you, me, and anybody else who's watching this, so like is an obvious duh.
Right.
Right? Like,
this should not be an issue.
You like there had been a previous attack, regardless of when you grabbed the pipe.
Right.
It's not relevant.
No, it's Landry's still irrational, still trying to somehow
prove his guilt. He's trying to be guilty. Trying to be guilty.
Yeah.
You can see Buddy and Santiago driving.
Yes, that's what it is. Yeah. So Buddy and Santiago are driving. Buddy asks him, "You ready for the game tonight? You might see some playing time." And Santiago kind of snaps at this. Like,
yeah. And I'm really interested in your take on this scene because Santiago goes off on Buddy for taking advantage of him, which is fair, I think. More or less, like, is for sure the 2007 version of being like, you're trying to be my white savior. Yep. You're trying to get me involved in the game that I don't know, boo about. You're trying to get me involved in this, whatever. Buddy gets, in my opinion, inappropriate. He says, listen, do you want to play football or do you want to go back to juvie?
Right.
And eating amongst 200 other dudes who are underage and breaking the law.
Right.
We had a little, in my house, I want to just make a note of. Angie and I had a little bit of disagreement on the level of Buddy's, what Angie would call inspirational speech here.
Okay.
Because I said Buddy's 100% trying to play white savior.
Mm-hmm.
Angie said that Buddy's trying to be realistic. I said I had a hard time with I had an easier time resonating with Santiago personally. And no, Angie definitely took
she was
Buddy's side. So
okay, here's my take on it.
Yeah.
I think so from both sides here. I think Santiago is okay, I don't think it has anything to do with not liking Buddy. I don't think it has anything to do with feeling pressured into playing football. I think he is overwhelmed by his situation. Having been in foster care, I know that when kids have lived in immense trauma their whole lives and have never been properly taken care of, to be in a good situation is almost like, it almost feels like a bad thing for them because it's so far out of the normal. And I'm not saying that Buddy is a great situation. It's not, right. But I mean, he's got a bed. He's never had a bed before.
Right.
Like just stuff like that can be so disorienting. And so I think he is so overwhelmed by how different his situation is and how in the pressure of feeling like he has to jump through, he has to be good at football in order to keep it. That's why Santiago snaps. Buddy, on the other hand, I feel like Buddy is actually being genuine and he actually earnestly wants to help Santiago, but Buddy has no grid for the world except for football. And so like even this situation, he is trying to like run it through football because he has no other means of relating to the world around him. So he's like trying to lay it on the line, and he does have some pretty warped like white savior mentality. I feel like his heart is in the right place as much as it can be, but it's still kind of jacked up. So
no, I agree 100%. That's why I'm really glad that we talked about it, because part of me was like I said, for me 100% was like, oh goodness, like this is because Santiago was like, he pretty much reached a point where he was like, I don't want any part of this at all.
Yeah.
Like, drop me back off where you found me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like, I think in those situations, kids can like sabotage their current situation because it's so disorienting to be taken care of that they want to sabotage it and act out so that they can go back to the world that they know. Even if it is insecure, it's at least familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I think that's what Santiago's going through. And I think.
So what you're saying is that you look at yourself as a white savior and you're taking Buddy Garrity's side.
I'm not taking Buddy Garrity's side. I'm saying I think both of them are acting out of their trauma and
realistically, I agree with both sides. No, and I do see Buddy's side, but I more than see Santiago's side, and I think that this. I agree with Santiago's side more than anything.
I think that Buddy is misguided, but I also think that good can still come out of that situation.
For sure. Absolutely. 100%.
Yep. So I'm not taking Buddy's side, just to be clear. Let's let the record show that. But
let's move on to talk about Julie's dress.
Yeah.
For Gracie's christening.
Right. Whatever that is. Julie and Tammy are bickering about the whole christening thing.
Julie bought a dress with Shelly.
It's not appropriate for a christening.
I would not. I'm a man, but I wouldn't wear it to. If I was a godfather, I wouldn't wear it to a baptism.
Right. We're not sure what a christening is, but yeah, probably not appropriate for that situation. It turns into an argument though about Julie like growing up, but also Julie not doing anything right. It's a lot of underlying issues that are coming up in this argument.
And it's a lot of both sides making a really good point.
Yeah.
It's a lot of Julie saying, listen, like, I'm X age. I need to be acting like I'm X age. Tammy saying, you're X age. You need to be acting X age. Like it's
right.
It's more or less back and forth.
Yeah.
And what it comes down to is Julie says, all I would like is a thank you. And as she walks away, Tammy says, all I would like is a thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. You can definitely feel both sides of it. I felt like it's totally understandable for a 16-year-old girl to say that, like, all I want is a thank you. But I also think it's very kind of a stupid thing to say to your mom who has given up her life for you.
Right. Absolutely. And not only a mom who's given up her life for you, but a mom who's given up her life at age 40X to give up her life for a new baby girl. I mean,
right.
If I were through it, I don't want to put myself in this situation, but like my little brother was just up here, and we're 13 years of age difference. Like, I just tweeted today about how Anthony gets political. Republicans have won 2 popular votes in my lifetime. My little brother, Miles, Republicans have won a popular vote one time in his lifetime, and it was when he was 2 years old. Like, that's how different we are. Like,
right.
He's 13 years younger than me. So, like, I understand to an extent, like, Miles is roughly Julie's age, more or less.
Right. Yeah.
When this is airing. So he's a whole new generation. Like, that's, in a way, it's confident to me. In a way, it's scary to me because it's like, I want to put him on the right path, but at the same time, like, he's going to choose his own path, and that path might be terrifying. So,
yeah.
I'm not a parent, probably, hopefully won't be. So there's a lot of drama here.
Yep.
And it makes me terrified personally to ever be a parent. So let's move on to. So Landry is at the police station.
Yeah, he's making his confession. He's finally getting it right.
The taped confession, and he's saying, "Did I feel in danger for Tyra's life? Yes." So it's on the camcorder. Paul Clark's lackey is filming it, and that's really all there's to be said about that scene.
He finally is willing to say the things that he needed to say.
Yes,
he's
finally realizing, like, this isn't a defense; it's reality.
Right. Yep.
Like, I don't need to say this because I need to be proven innocent. Like, this is something I need to say because it's the truth. So there's something to be said about that. But there's also something to be said about Jason Street's date with Isabella.
Yeah, he on the date asks her, why did you post on the website? I'm just curious. Maybe this is off limits, but I just want to know. And she says that she wanted to find guys who were more open-minded. And,
how open-minded, Josh, do they have to be?
Well, Isabella says, can I tell you what gets me going? Pee.
This is a really funny moment for in the Hookman-Iverson household because it took like 10 minutes because Angie was like, I thought she was going to spell out something. No.
No, it was just the word P, not the letter P.
But Angie did admit, she was like, there was a water like sound.
Yeah.
Soon after she says it, that really brings it home. So Isabella is a fan of water sports.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Jason Street is very off put by this. So he tells the server, he says, listen, I got to get out of this date. And the server, listen, as a person who's been a server before, completely resonate with her. He says, you want to get out of a date, get out of your own date.
Right.
And he says, listen, you don't understand. She just told me she's into pee.
Pee.
And the server's like,
oh,
what? So
yeah,
we get a little moment where Isabella comes back to the table. She's what does she say to the server? She's like, oh, we need to be ready for some appetizers or something. And the server says, listen, your date left. I think she says, like, when you be ready for whatever my date orders, and she says, your date left.
Yeah.
And Isabella's like, that's impossible. He's wheelchair bound, and I drove. Ableist, yes.
Yeah.
The server says no, he left. Isabella throws water at the server.
Yeah, she is. She flips out on the server.
Not appropriate. As a former server, not appropriate. Not okay.
Right. Yeah.
Meanwhile,
Jason is hiding in the kitchen watching it happen.
I don't want to get objectifying here, but if you're Jason Street, Isabella or the server, from a completely misogynistic standpoint, I'm going with the server.
I was going to say Isabella.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, not with the P thing.
Right. Discounting the P thing, I'm still going server.
Server's very attractive too. It's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Not out of my.
Right. No, you're not saying she's not attractive, but you're going with Isabella. All right.
Yep.
I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah. All right. So we see Santiago pregame. He is puking in the bathroom.
Couldn't be more nervous.
No, he's overwhelmed. He's freaking out. We go to the game and
Panthers are getting crushed.
Yeah. Their quarterback, the opposing quarterback, is named Pepper. Apparently, his
JD Pepper.
JD Pepper.
Foreshadowing JD's.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
Yep.
A JD for sure. I actually thought like that's just pretty uncreative of the writers. Like, I feel like a quarterback in Texas would be named JD.
They should have probably got more original later in the series, but I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, they went back to JD. It's 28-13 going into halftime. And, I believe it's Slam and Sammy probably says they need pressure on the quarterback if they're going to turn this thing around.
Panthers are down. Buddy pulls coach aside. He says, listen, you got to play Santiago.
Yeah, he's a street fighter. You never know until he gets in the ring. Again, buddy.
We don't like it.
That's uncomfortable for me. For you to say that, buddy, that is uncomfortable for me. Please don't do that. Coach doesn't do it at first. He does not. He's like, well, I'll take that into consideration. Doesn't put Santiago in. They continue sucking on defense. So finally, all right, we're going to put in Santiago.
And Santiago gets in the zone very fast.
Well, he gets his butt kicked for a few plays.
That's true.
And it's not until a lineman like trash talks him and calls him a bitch that he gets fired up. He looks up, sees Buddy in the stands. He has this like moment where the camera is like searching the stands and finally like, oh, there's Buddy. And,
Josh.
Yeah.
The year is 2004.
Yep.
It's the third quarter.
Uh-huh.
Your jaw's broken.
Yep. This is a true story so far.
Your eyes are searching the stands for inspiration. You know you're hurt, but you don't know how hurt. Who are you looking for?
Honestly, the only person I remember seeing in this moment where my jaw was broken.
Dave Inc. I knew it.
Not Dave Inc. It's Alan Weir in his polyester shorts looking at me. I specifically remember this. My jaw's broken. I'm sitting on the ground, and Alan Weir looks at me. He's like, get up. So I got up, and I kept playing. So
Incredible.
That Alan Weir is my inspiration, specifically in maroon polyester
honestly,
shorts.
I don't think there's anybody else that we've referenced on the show more than Alan Weir, and I think we got to get him on the show for sure.
So Santiago sees his inspiration, Buddy Garrity, his savior, if you will, up in the stands. And that really is what motivates him. Well, I think it's mostly being called a bitch that motivates him.
I think that's a big part of it for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that the one part that Santiago, who has been shielded from football as a sport, from what I understand, for his entire life to this point, the thing that he does understand is if there's a guy with the ball, you tackle him. And that's what he does. He gets a sack for a fumble.
Yep. Knocks the ball loose. Panthers recover.
And let me explain that I was writing notes, so I'm distracted, trying to write as many notes as I can. And Angie goes, "Oh, did he play good?" And I was like, "Yeah, he got a sack." And Angie, the sister of a head football coach, the daughter of a football coach, says, "I don't know what a sack is."
Okay.
And the girlfriend of a person who is a fan of the 7-0 as of this point Pittsburgh Steelers.
I wasn't even aware. That's great. Good for you.
Did not understand what a sack is.
Yeah, I feel like you almost have to be actively not
right. It's like she's not even trying.
Yeah.
It's like she's not even trying. So I just told her, I was like, a sack is where you tackle the quarterback for a loss.
Yep.
But Santiago gets a sack for a fumble.
Yep. Panthers recover, turns the tide of the game, changes the momentum. Panthers win.
Yeah. I thought that I had written down what the score was.
They didn't really say at the end of the game. Like
it was 28 to 13 at the half.
Yeah. So. Yeah. And then the Santiago the Santiago sack happens, and then we just kind of cut to the end of the game, and we find out that the Panthers won.
Yeah, but Buddy tells Santiago that he brought the magic and won the game.
Yep.
Changed the momentum.
That was the key. Santiago kind of tries to brush it off, but no, Buddy wants him to know, like, that was you. The waitress from the restaurant gives Jason a ride home.
Whoa.
Okay.
Gotta rewind. So the Panthers win the game.
Mm-hmm.
Buddy tells Santiago that he is the one who won the game, brought the magic, gives the momentum. There's a music cue.
Oh, okay.
That I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
And this is something that I did really want to bring up to you. The song is Source Tags and Codes by the band And You Will Know Us by the Trail of the Dead.
Oh.
I've never listened to the band And You Will Know Us by the Trail of the Dead, but based on this song, they have a very different sound than I was expecting.
Yeah. No, they're kind of in the post-rock category, right?
Yeah.
But like a little bit harder than Explosions in the Sky.
Based on the song that they played, only barely. Like, this could have been
okay.
I mean, this is post. I would describe it as post rock for sure. Like, as soon as I saw the band name pop up, I was like, and to be honest with you, I'm a judgmental human being. So when I see the name like And You'll Know Us by the Trail of the Dead, I was like, oh, that's not a band that I'm interested in. I thought that would be like a full on like metal band, like something that I would not be interested in. They were pretty. I would describe it as post rock from what I heard.
Yeah, they were back in 2007. I would say that Explosions in the Sky was a hipster band, and You Will Know Us by the Trail of Our Dead was the hipster band, like another level of hipster. Yeah, no, good music cue. I didn't catch it, but yeah, that's a very 2007 music cue as well. And
I did double Shazam it. I had to do it twice, but I got it.
You got it. Yeah, nice. Yeah, so Buddy and Santiago have their moment in the hall while And You'll Know Us by the Trail of Our Dead is playing. The waitress gives Jason a ride home, and they really hit it off in the car, arguing over who has had the worst date. They're kind of going back and forth.
Well, a little flirty arguing. I would.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Sorry. For sure. Very flirty. Jason just pulls the trump card with...
He moves in. He knows he's Jason Street. It doesn't matter if he's in a dang wheelchair. He's Jason Street. And she is into it. It works. Kiss.
Yep. They kiss in the car. We cut over to Matt and Carlota. He tries to bring up the ground rules with Carlota. She's not interested.
No.
She's like, what are you talking about?
She is... more into a little bit of this. Yeah,
she kisses him to shut him up.
Yeah, Smash once again. Smash's rules are wrong.
Maybe they work for Smash, but they do not. It's not like a cut and paste situation onto Matt Saracen. And Carlota, after she kisses him to shut him up, says, "I think I want to teach you how to make mole."
Yeah,
which I didn't really understand.
Well, and that's I paused it and I was like, I told Angie, I was like, what did she want to teach him? And Angie was like, I think she said mole, but that's Mexican and she's Guatemalan. So I'm not really sure.
Yeah. Not sure that makes
culturally,
sense. I didn't know if that was a euphemism in the moment. Like,
right.
Hey, let's make some mole.
One, and the dish that she teaches him later is, I don't know what category that falls in.
No, that was mole. Because mole is like chilies and chocolate, and it's a very unique dish. But
well, then I guess I got to talk to Angie because she seemed confused by the whole thing as well. So,
well, she's Honduran, so what does she know? But.
Right? Yeah. So we get back to Tim's roommate Guy. Tim's sleeping.
Yeah.
In like this is not even his own bedroom. It's like a den or like a laundry room.
Yeah, I was gonna say like a storage room. I don't know. It's not a bedroom. It's not a
No,
bedroom.
and he's in there with Roscoe and Coltrane, the ferrets, is what it seemed to me. There's at least one cage in there. And Tim's roommate confronts him with a rifle.
Yeah, just sticks it right in his chest.
Not okay. Not even as a bit, which as it turns out to be, but not
don't
okay. Not as a bit.
No. Tim's rightfully terrified of the situation. Guy tries to make it out like it's some kind of a joke or a bit, but yeah, I have. He tries to make it out as a joke, but it's really not.
Well, and Guy's been passive aggressive for. I mean, we're talking 3 or 4 days now at this point. From the moment that Tim finds out about the meth lab, Guy's been passive aggressive.
Yeah,
Josh, you and I have known each other for 25 years. Right? How many times passive aggressive? How many times has a rifle been involved in our friendship? I would count one time.
Yeah, maybe one, a shotgun at least, but definitely never pointed into each other's chest.
No, never at a chest. If a person that I knew for, we're talking, and in the context of the episode, I would say a week and a half tops.
Yeah.
That person shoves a rifle in my chest, I'm getting out of there.
Which Tim pretty much does.
As it turns out, it is a joke.
Kind of.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Guy says that he's got buddies that have come over. They're kind of having a little party downstairs, wants Tim to come down and meet them. Tim goes down, immediately gets offered meth or a crack pipe or something.
Not only that, you don't even have to see the crack pipe or the meth or whatever it is that he gets offered. You look at this room. I don't want to be judgmental of other people, but you look at this room and you see, listen, I was a partier in my day.
Oh,
I've never had a time where I've ended up in a 5-guy room where it's like this, but I've definitely been in situations where I knew it was the right time to bounce, and not be part of this particular 10 or less person room. Tim Riggins looks at this. I mean, we're looking at male pattern baldness. We're looking at drugs. We're looking at camo clothing. We're looking at, all the signifiers.
Yeah. There's like a dude unconscious on the couch. I don't know.
Yeah. What more can I say? I mean, yeah.
Get out of there, Tim.
Yeah.
Just get out.
So Tim makes, I'm going to say this might be the MVP Tim moment of the series. The MVT, most valuable Tim moment of the series, because he says, let me go grab some vodka from the liquor store. Yeah. He says, I'm going to go, I'm going to bounce. I'm going to bring the party back though.
Right.
Tim does not bring the party back. He grabs his boots and he bounces.
Yeah, he's out of there.
He gets out of Dodge very quickly.
Good call. Tim gets out of there. Jason gets dropped off at home by the waitress the next morning. I'm assuming they spend the night together.
Yeah. Yeah. So next morning, Jason gets dropped off. I mean, the moment that his wheels hit the ground and she drives off, he is in celebratory mode for sure.
Right. His parents, not so much. He goes in. No. They're furious. He tells them it absolutely will not happen again. It was unacceptable. Won't happen again because he's moving in with Herc.
Yeah. He says, I agree with you. It is unacceptable. I shouldn't have done it. And it won't happen again because I'm moving in with Herc. Which I think, we have our disagreements on Herc, but I think it's a good call as we're talking a darn near 20-year-old Jason Street.
Yep. Starting a new chapter in his life for sure.
Yep. And his poor parents for making their home handicap accessible for less than a year, but that's,
they're still going to want that though.
Yeah, he'll suck home to visit. Tammy, she asks Shelly to talk to Julie in private.
Yep.
Shelly agrees. She says, I'll help Julie put on her necklace.
Yeah, I can do this.
Yep. So they do it in private. They have a little conversation. Tammy kind of apologizes, says, hey, I went off a little bit.
Yeah. This is so important to me because I just want my family back. She wants Julie back ever since the baby's been born. She's been super distant. And so she's really like hoping that this christening can be kind of almost like a fresh start, like the family coming together. And like, the symbolism of baptism is that you're a part of, at least infant baptism is that you're a part of God's family. And so she's like almost making this parallel, like, this is where we come together as a family and we start over. So they smooth things over. The Taylor family's bustling around, getting ready for the christening. And in the process of that, Tammy
there's a pickup parked outside.
Yep. A pickup that we know well. It is Tim Riggins. He is sleeping in his pickup outside their house. Coach goes out there and we see him kind of talk to Tim, bring him into the garage, give him a sleeping bag, which we're assuming at this point is he's offering him a place to stay. Maybe.
Yeah, I took as a the Taylor family garage is now Tim Riggins' temporary home.
Right.
Which is a better temporary home than Guy's ferret room.
Right.
Where you get challenged with a rifle in the case that you maybe don't feed the ferrets.
That's not good.
And you know what? Honestly, Buddy Garrity stayed in Coach's home. The best you can offer Tim Riggins is a garage. Listen, I know it's Texas. I know that the climate is temperate.
Right.
But if you offer Buddy Garrity a room in your home, and the best you're offering Tim Riggins, who is objectively less of a scumbag, the garage. Granted, you got a daughter at home.
Yep. Tim is a known, philanderer. Yeah. It appears that Tim has definitely an upgrade in his lodging.
Right. But a downgrade from Buddy's. What do you make of that?
I think Buddy holds a lot of sway in that town.
Okay.
So.
All right. So if you're coach, you're making the same decision.
No, I'm not saying that.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to clarify.
I think Coach knows he might get in trouble with Tammy for welcoming Tim Riggins into the house, so he's trying to.
He knew that you might be in trouble for bringing Buddy into the house, and I think he knew you might have been in trouble for Julie walking in on Buddy, not locking the bathroom door.
Yeah, that was.
And trying to share a pork chop. So
join me in a pork chop.
That's something to consider.
We get our typical end of the episode little montage here.
Yeah, a lot of scenes back to back to back. I did get the music cue.
Oh yeah.
Another camera obscura song.
Okay, another Friday Night Lights favorite.
Yep. Arrangements of Shapes and Space by Camera Obscura. So we get a little montage. We got Street moving in with Herc.
Is Lila helping? Did I see that?
I may not have been paying close enough attention.
I definitely saw Lila. I assume that she was helping, but that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Very progressive for if she were to do so.
Yeah.
We get Carlota and Matt. We get Carlota maybe teaching him to cook mole.
Yep. That's what they're doing. We see the christening. We get the kind of the voiceover of the pastor welcoming into God's family, God's unconditional love. I felt like it was actually a nice church scene for once, instead of like reinforcing some guilt and shame complex on them.
Right. And just to reinforce Angie's view of the Taylor family and arguably Julie's hate, Angie was like, Julie's gonna drown baby Gracie. I was like, you are going darker than the show. Yeah. Frankly, how dare you?
This is the house of the Lord.
Honestly, I think you might hate Julie more than we do at this point. So maybe check yourself before you wreck yourself. So
yeah, that is taking things to a different level. We end the episode with the cops showing up at the Clark household. My question is, as God-fearing people, shouldn't the Clarks also be in church at this point? I guess we don't have a firm view of the timeline, but
I don't think we know that it's necessarily the same
time.
day.
Yeah. Yep.
The Clarks might be Seventh-day Adventists. They might
they already went to
Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
Who's to say what religion or what sect of Christianity really that the Clark family follows, but the police, who frankly also are not at church at the time, they show up at the Clark household. They say, we need to talk to Landry. The audience, you and I, we're worried.
Yeah. It turns out they're not pressing charges.
Yes.
On Landry. That's what we find out. Landry goes to tell Tyra this. We don't really know, but he goes to tell Tyra. My question is, does the look in Landry's eye at the end of this episode tell us that he knows this is the beginning of the end of the relationship?
I think yes. I think yes. I think he knows, and arguably is this a part of his concern. He's got the girl.
Yeah.
And he's willing to try to be a murderer to cover up for that. So
Yep. Yeah, that's the end of our episode. We're gonna take a little break here. We'll be right back. All right, our Coach Taylor inspo rating. Let's start out with that. How are we feeling about Coach this week?
Yeah. Let me dig in.
Coach is, kind of playing this in between Julie and Tammy, which is not great. I don't feel like it's not malicious in intent, but I also don't feel like it's a good move.
No, he is definitely in between a rock and a hard place, and the rock is Julie and the hard place is Tammy.
Yeah.
No, I can tell that Coach is coming from a place of definite concern, but also concern for himself. He's getting Santiago on the team, who may or may not be a game-changing acquisition.
Right.
But he's also dealing with Julie. He's also dealing with baby Gracie's christening, if you will. I don't know where to put Coach in this episode. I mean, like a 4 or 5.
Right. Yeah. He's not rising to unimaginable new heights by any means. He's not failing either. Right. So I think a 4. I think a 4 is fine.
Really okay with that.
Yep. Julie Taylor hate-o-meter. Julie doesn't have a great episode here.
No, even Angie hates her, which is something to be said. So it's definitely in the positives. Noah's gone as far as we can tell.
Oh yeah, that's over with apparently.
Yeah, so that's a positive for Julie, but she is still not making good choices. She's still trying to get involved in these provocative dresses, which
yeah, whatever your judgment on that is, making things hard for Coach and Mrs. Coach.
Yeah, You got Shelly coming in making maybe arguably being a bad example. Tammy's mad about the dress that Julie wants to wear for baby Gracie's christening. Yeah. Julie's mad about the little top that Shelly buys her for the Puerto Rico trip or the Costa Rica trip or
Costa Rica, yeah.
whatever it is. Yeah. Coach and Tammy are judgmental of the wardrobe that are involved in the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
Julie has a arguably provocative dress for baby Gracie's christening. Julie definitely has a provocative top that Aunt Shelly has purchased for her that all the folks are wearing in Costa Rica.
Apparently.
So, yeah. They're concerned.
Yeah.
And also Tammy's concerned about Noah in the last episode, so
right. All this is adding up. We have not, it's all kind of coming to a head. I feel like Julie's trending upwards on the hate-o-meter right now.
Not great.
I would put her at probably like a 6 right now.
I agree with the 6.
Yep. Moving on up. Not to as high as we know she can go, but it's not looking good. The Big Rig beer tally. I don't think we had anything.
I didn't have anything in this episode.
Yeah. I didn't have anything marked down. The Alamo Freeze presents the Matt Saracen Oshucks Goofus Maloofus moment of the week. I had down. I made a note when Smash realizes that Carlota is there to see Matt, and just the grin on Matt's face.
It's not even the Matt Saracen Goofus Maloofus of the week. It's the Smash Williams Goofus Maloofus moment of the week.
Yeah,
it is a moment where he realizes I'm not in control.
Yeah. Buddy Garrity sleazeball move of the week is just the whole white savior mentality, right?
For sure. The moment where he tells Santiago, you can go back to juvie if you want to. You don't matter to me, etc., etc. It's very
gross. We don't like it. Notable music cues. What do we have?
Yes.
Camera Obscura and You Will Know Us by the Trail of Our Dead.
Yeah. Both of them. I think the song by And They Will Know Us by the Trail of Our Dead song was honestly the most surprising because that band name suggested to me that would be a much heavier sound.
Yeah.
So frankly, I'll give them more of a try.
I would. If you're into Explosions in the Sky, I would say go ahead and check it out.
And I am.
Outdated pop culture reference of the week. What do I feel like we had something?
Isabella's MySpace page.
MySpace, yes. MySpace in 2007.
Wheellove.com. Isabella's MySpace page. She has a link on mywheellove.com or whatever it is. Wheellove.com.
Wheel Love. Is that a play on Real Love? I didn't even catch that.
I don't know.
No, I just clicked then. Quote of the week. What submissions do you have? I don't have a ton for this one. I have Coach approaching Riggins while he's working at the gymnastics meet. You doing all right? Not really, Coach. She just hit an 8-6. Stacy should be hitting those double backs. She's been her own worst enemy all day. It's pretty bad. I made a note of that one. All right. Well, then I guess by default, it's Tim's commentary on the gymnastics meet.
Yeah, for sure.
Not great, but
he also expresses genuine concern. What I love about that is he is like, I'm here because I need to be, but also, what was the thing that she got an 8.6, Coach?
She's been her own worst enemy all day. Yeah, that's pretty good. MVP of the episode. Make your case. Who you going with?
If I may, Tammy Taylor.
Okay, I mean, always a good choice.
I think Tammy made her case, and for the first time, a genuine case against Julie. Not to say that Julie's the enemy, because we do love Julie.
Mm-hmm.
Amy Teagarden come on the show.
Come on.
But I think Tammy made her case of being like, listen, I know my sister's in town. I know that Coach has kind of been easy on you, but I need you here to be my daughter. Baby Grace is getting christened, and we need you here, provocative dress or not.
Right.
So I'm gonna say Mrs. Coach Tammy Taylor.
Tammy. All right. Man, nobody's really making a real hard case. I'm gonna go with Santiago, just because he gets his shot and he gets in there and he does his darndest, finds inspiration, mainly in being verbally assaulted and in Buddy Garrity. And gets in there, changes the momentum of the game. So I'm going to go from a performance, like a classic MVP, and go with Santiago. That is a pretty weak case, I'll admit. So I think Tammy Taylor is kind of our default. If all else fails, just give Tammy the MVP. But, a shining moment for Santiago at the end there.
The joke of it is I just submit Tammy Taylor as a bit anytime that I don't have an MVP. So the fact that I could win with that is
you can win every time. Yeah, for sure. Okay, that leaves us with our episode rating. Not a great one. What we gave last episode? What, a 5?
Yeah, lowest of the series so
Is
far.
this better or worse than the last episode?
I'm gonna give it slightly better. I'm gonna go a low 6.
Yeah,
personally. Yeah.
I think so too. There's a lot going on. There's a lot for us to talk about, at least. So whether it was quality or not, it at least provided some good discussion. So that'll wrap it up for us for this episode. We are episode 209. So we're cruising our way on through. Thanks for hanging with us through season 2. Yes. This is an episode where you start to get the full picture. I mean, if you hadn't seen Friday Night Lights before, you're starting to understand
of what a mess season 2 is. We're glad you're sticking with us. If you're listening to this episode, and especially if you're in the West Indies, we appreciate you listening to us. So shout out, as always, to our listeners in the West Indies.
Yep, we love you. We appreciate you. This is Josh and Anthony, Reliving the Lights. Come on back next week. We're going to get into episode 210. We love you. We appreciate you. Go check us out on Twitter. That's it.
God bless.
Let's touch God this time, boys. Let's touch God.